Hey guys, just out here in my front yard garden, and I wanted to make a video today talking about my reasoning behind wanting to stay small. So for some of you who follow my videos fairly consistently, you might remember in the winter or late fall of last year I was talking about expanding Green City Acres, buying a big piece of land and going for it and basically 10xing Green City Acres. Well, a lot's changed since then. One thing in particular, the sort of reality of being a parent and having a family and wanting to have a balanced family lifestyle has really settled in, the reality of that. And so we've totally changed our plans. And so I'll give you some insight on what happened then and talk about the process a little bit and what we've decided to do since then. So back in October, I started really actively looking for a new farm. I looked at, I think around 10 different places, and every time I found one that I liked, I thought, oh, this is the one, this is it. And then another one came up that was better. And so it was kind of interesting because it kind of showed, I certainly in my life try to follow an abundant mentality and try to escape scarcity thinking, the idea that, there's never enough and everything's a zero-sum game and, opportunities are rare and all this. I try to flip that and think, opportunities are everywhere. There's always enough. There's much to go around, and that mentality really manifests itself when I was looking for land, because every time I thought I found the best place, we found another place that was even better. So went through this process, looked at a bunch of different places, had a realtor working with me that I really liked, and he really understood what I wanted, and we found this one place. And this was, I think it was somewhere around December that we found it. It was 11 acres and it was absolutely perfect. It had a house which was a little bigger than what we wanted, but it had a rentable suite beneath it, and it also had 2 double car garages that also had suites in them. At least one of them, one of them did. The other one we could have renovated to make it that way. And so it's perfect because I could have had 3 rental properties in it, a big farm. The farmable space in it was about 7 acres, and it really had everything. It had a barn that could have been perfect for a post-harvest area and all this, and I drew up all these exciting maps. I made all these plans. So at that point we said, okay, we're gonna go for it, we're gonna do this, and we started to make arrangements to move forward. So finding a mortgage and getting the financing is in place and all that. And I've talked a lot about this in my previous videos, and it was the primary reason that I got into urban farming to begin with, because I always wanted to have my own land. I always wanted to farm rurally, but land in Kelowna is damn expensive. And so this deal that we were doing was $1.5 million. So to get the house, and it needed about $250,000 in renovation costs to get it to where we wanted, so that we could rent the suites and farm it. And then that wasn't even including the cost for me to bootstrap the farm. That would have been probably at least, I could have started on $100,000 to get things going, but to get the greenhouses that I wanted in there and do all that, we were looking at about a $500,000 investment. So needless to say, it was a lot of money. So it was already at about $2 million with everything. And so I had gone through the process to get financing and everything, and I have good credit, and I have quite a bit of equity in the house that I own. And so I was approved for everything. And the thing that was crazy about it is, once we were actually in motion to make it happen, I really started to crunch numbers further, and I started to plan it, like put the business plan in order. Like, okay, so I'm going to 10x Green City Acres. What does that look like? Where am I going to sell that product? And the plan was to sell to the franchises that we already sell to, but export product to their warehouses, and then have our product in all the stores across British Columbia. So big move, big risk. And as I started to go through the process, I was just actually starting to visualize what are the day-to-day actions that I need to do to get this farm to where I want it to be with this plan. And the more I started to run through that, I started to look at my life and the life that my family is enjoying right now, and going, wow, things are going to be really different when we do this. Because I've started a farm, and I've been involved in dozens of consulting projects to bootstrap farms that are much bigger than mine. You know, our Green City Acres is a 1/4 acre in production size. And so as I started to go through that process, I started to really realize and reflect that I really like our lifestyle right now. And I'm even, in my opinion, still busy with all the things that I do. I run the paper pot company with Diego Fooder. I, relatively regularly post on YouTube. I run my website. I still teach physical courses in places. We travel a lot. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up this summer. And I was just thinking, how the hell would I manage even the things that I do right now and then scale this farm? Knowing that I would have to hire people to do it, but an owner needs to step in to make things happen. And so at that point I realized, this is crazy. So I pulled the plug. I basically called the whole thing off and decided at that point, we're going to keep Green City Acres the way it is. It's going to stay small. And I'm going to focus on the things that I'm doing now and not try to overburden myself, because I want to be able to spend time with my daughter. I want to be able to take the time that's needed to have that balanced lifestyle. So months went by after coming to that decision. Can we stop looking for land? And then I thought, well, maybe we'll invest in some other real estate, because I had this vision years ago that it would be really cool if Green City Acres went in a direction where, instead of us leasing land that we farm on, which is still the predominant model we're using, we own this place and we do a lot of the farming here, but we lease our neighbor's yard next to this. We have a plot 2 blocks away and another plot 2 blocks away here that we lease. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if I bought more properties in my neighborhood and then had them as rentals and then farmed the properties? And then that way I would be moving towards completely securing the land base of my farm, but then also have rental income. But the problem there was, so I started looking at more places to do this same thing in this neighborhood. There's actually a lot for sale in Kelowna right now, but the prices are crazy. Like a house like mine 5 years ago was worth about $400,000. Now they're worth about $650 to $700. Even places around the corner are listed at $800,000 for a 1/4 acre lot with a house. And as we were looking around for places to do this, kind of crunching the numbers, looking at the value that homes are selling for, what would need to be done to get them up to a point where we could get a decent rental income from them, and then looking at, just basically crunching the numbers. And what I found was, it was really hard to buy a place and get rental income from it, so actually have it be cash flow positive after the mortgage. I would say, I don't want to say it's impossible, because I know some people might watch this video and say, hey Curtis, I've got places and I'm getting rental income from them as cash flow, and that's great, but we couldn't really make it work. And I didn't really want to be in a place where I'm just buying real estate with the expectation that it's going to appreciate, because something tells me that things are going to change in the economy. And I've been watching the economy for a long time, and I know how the system works, and I know that markets can go up and down. If you look at the history of real estate, particularly in British Columbia, there's been times like in the 80s where things took a really big dive. They grew and then they took a dive. And so what's happening right now in British Columbia is we've got a NDP government, which is a socialist government, who are radically trying to stifle the real estate market. And there's some good intentions behind that, in the sense that we have a lot of foreign investment coming in, buying places over asking price, which is raising the prices for everybody else, which means that a lot of people who live in British Columbia or were born in British Columbia can't even afford to buy a house. So I get the intentions behind it. I'm just not so sure what they're going to do is going to work. And so we might be moving into some uncharted waters. And you know, I've done fairly well for myself over the past few years. Ever since my book has come out, it's done pretty well, and I'm in a place where I've got some excess cash, and you know, I'm asking myself, what do I want to do? Do I want to invest in the stock market? Because I understand in an inflationary economy, money is perpetually being devalued. So if you have a bunch of cash and you put it under your mattress, or you just put it in a bank, you're essentially losing your money. It's not even keeping up with where the economy is going. So, you know, I had these different strategies of, okay, do I invest in some real estate? Speculate on the market? Do I try to get some cash flow? Do I go into some stocks? You know, I'm interested in cryptocurrencies, things like that. What do I do? And what I've decided to do after weighing a bunch of these options is just pay off my mortgage. Basically just get out of debt entirely. The way I look at it is, and I'm actually interested in what some of you guys think about this, so feel free to leave your comments or questions below, because I'm no expert in economics. I've certainly done fairly well, but that's been as a result of my own work, so I can't I'm not going to sit here and say I've done well with stocks and investments. I've certainly invested in myself and invested in enterprises that I've been involved with, and those things have all done well. But as far as investing in things that I don't have immediate control of, I don't have a big success rate from that, except in my own businesses, like I said. So my thinking here with just paying off my mortgage, and so we should be about debt. We should be totally debt-free in 2 years. That's the plan. My thinking is kind of weighing the options. If some of you are familiar with the work of Nassim Taleb, he wrote a book called Anti-Fragile, or Fooled by Randomness, recently a book called Skin in the Game. I'm a huge fan of his work. Is this idea of optionality and kind of positioning yourself to benefit if times are good and also benefit if times are bad. And so my thinking behind getting out of debt with my mortgage is that if times continue to be good and real estate appreciates and it gains more value, if I have no debt, I have all this equity in my house that I can leverage for more debt to buy more real estate if I want. But if times are bad, say the economy collapses, say the US dollar falls apart, you know, whatever scenario you can imagine, there's so many forces at play with a global economy. If the economy goes bad and I have no debt, then I'm doing even better, because I own equity in the house. I don't have to answer to anybody, and then I might be able to get back into the market when things are at a discount. Like say the real estate market collapses, and a lot of people are speculating that Canada's market will take a turn in some way. Canada has the highest debt per person in the world, and that's not debt from home debt. We actually have the highest debt per person from credit card debt and student loans in the world. And a lot of people are saying that that's not sustainable. So I'm thinking, well, let's get out of debt. Let's stay small. Let's pay off the house and then see what happens. So that's my thoughts in that matter. So the plan is to stay small and get out of debt. A lot of people have asked, that's why I made this video. But I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. I know there's a lot of smart people that watch my channel, and I'm really curious what you guys think and what you might do in a similar situation. So if you like that video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll talk to you guys later.